right. We finished the calculator part of review 2. Or review 1, I mean, excuse me, review sheet 1. We finished the calculator part. So what I would like to do now is go to review sheet 2. Which is page 8. And let's do the no calculator part. Alright? So this is another review sheet. I'm going to start another piece of paper. YouTube, page 8 in your packet. And we are going to do some no calculator problems now. All right, everybody ready? Here we go. Number 1, what are we doing? Solving. All right, so we got a bunch of different kinds of problems we need to be able to solve. So, what is your thought on problem number 1? Get it equal to 0. Kids, with inequalities, get 0. Get 0 with inequalities. Now what? Take out an x. Factor it, in other words. This is an easy factoring problem. Now what? Put it on a number line. And where will the 2 dots go on the number line? There's going to be 2 of them because there's 2 x's. Every x gets a dot. 0 and 8. Any of those dots colored in? No, because that's not or equal to. Now, normally we like to, okay, because we're going to check a region now, right? See if it works. And normally we pick 0. Not allowed this time because 0 happens to be one of our dots. So we got to pick a different number. 1. Okay, 1's in here, so we're checking here. 1 would give us 1 times -7. 1 times -7. Is that the kind of number that I was hoping to get? No. No. So 1 didn't work. Doesn't work. That means this does and this does? Yeah. Which means my answer is everything from -infinity to 0 or 8 to infinity. Everybody with me? All right, now we're going to B. Would it be okay with you if I just got it to equal 0 rather than recopying it? Because with inequalities, we want to get 0. What are you wearing?
Yeah, we went outside.
Peyton, what kind of shirt should he be wearing? Not that. That's
what
right.
you wearing, huh?
Well, she's already gotten her detention. Yeah. It's a bummer. Okay. All right. What do we do now? This one is not as easy as the last one. What are we going to do? Well, it doesn't factor by grouping, so we're going to do the PRR thing. And you've done this enough. You don't have to write them down, but think about what are the possibilities? 1, 2, 4, and 8, plus or minus. And you got to find something that's going to work. Looks like 1 will work. So I'm going to divide 1 out. Remember, if you guess and it doesn't work, then you guess again, and you keep guessing until you get one that gives you 0. You shouldn't have to guess very long if you're doing it smart. All right, what's left? X squared plus 6x plus 8, which factors 4 and 2, x plus 4, x plus 2. Don't forget though, remember this guy? You got another factor, x minus 1. This is a cube, therefore it needs to have 3 x's represented in the answer. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
You're going to get all, worked up when you're taking your test, and you might forget him. Don't. All right, so now we go to number line. Where do the dots go? There are 3 of them this time. Every x gets a dot. -4, -2, and 1. Please put them in the right order. This is a number line. Make sure they're in the right order. Can we pick 0 this time?
Yes.
Yep. You don't have to. Pick whatever you want. If we pick 0, remember it's right here, so I'm checking that region. So I would get 4, 2, and -1. Does that work for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what do I want to be? Negative? Less than 0? Isn't that negative? So that one works. Doesn't, does. Should anything be colored in? All of them. Yep, all of them. There's only one kind of problem where some might be colored and some aren't. What do you have to have in your problem if you might have that kind of thing going on? A denominator. You got to have an X in the denominator. We don't have anything to worry about here. They're all colored in. It's an or equal to problem. Our answer is everything from -infinity to -4, or from -2 to +1. There we go. Are you feeling okay about that? All right, now we're ready for C. Another inequality, but it's a different kind. Looks different. What's our strategy with this guy?
Get 2 on the other side.
Get 2 on the other side. When there are inequalities, every time, what are we shooting to have on one side? 0. If you don't have 0, make it happen. So x minus 3, oh wait, let's see, I need a common denominator, don't I? So my common denominator, I'll multiply this by x plus 4 over x plus 4. Now I have my common denominator. Everybody, okay? So my denominator is going to be x plus 4. On top, I have my x minus 3. Watch this now. Minus 2x minus 8. Please don't make a mistake there. And -x minus 11 over x plus 4. Okay, so now I'm going to put some dots on a number line, right? 2 of them. There's 2 x's, 2 dots. This dot is super simple. Everybody knows that dot's going to be at -4. All these negatives make this a little bit more complicated, so over to the side, just figure it out. What makes it 0? It looks like -11. So I've got -11 and -4. Make sure they're in the right order. Can I try 0?
Yes. Yeah.
So if I do, if I put 0 in, I get -11/4. If I put in 0, is that the kind of number that I was hoping to have? Nope. So that doesn't work, which means this does. And my answer, oh wait, is anything colored in?
Yeah, both circles.
Not both. Not both. Not both. The 11 is colored in. Denominator dots are never filled in. You can never equal 0 in the bottom. So your answer is everything from -11 to -4. Okay, D. Oh my, what a mess. Now I'm going to go ahead and factor that last thing. I'm going to copy it down. Everybody see that? I factored the denominator of the last fraction. All right, Braden, what do you think we might want to do with this guy?
Which one? Like the addition problem? Get like denominators?
Okay, what would my common denominator be?
Probably x squared plus, or I don't know, x squared.
Leave them factored. You're forming it together, which is fine, but what would they be in factored form?
X minus 2.
And x plus
X plus
1. Both of them. That's your common denominator. So I'm going to multiply by x plus 1, x minus 2. 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 So I am multiplying everything by the common denominator. Now, the good news is stuff is canceling, right? So what I have here is x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. I FOILed these two things together. Plus, what's going to be here? 3x squared plus 3x equals, oh Lord, this is going to be 4 times x squared minus x minus 2 and plus 3. I'm just going to clean up each side individually. So what have I got over here? I've got 4x squared minus x plus 4. Double check that. Is that right over here on the left side? And then over here, I'm going to have 4x squared minus 4x minus 5, because I have a minus 8 and a plus 3. So far, so good. This is awesome, because I thought it was going to be quadratic, but it's not, is it? Those are going to disappear. So 3x equals negative 9, and x equals negative 3. All right, now just real quick, do a double check. This problem has excluded values. What are the values that x cannot be? Negative 1 and positive 2. So we're good to go. This answer's fine. That's the answer. We're done. Ready for the next problem. Okay? Now, E, they snuck in there, or I snuck in there, as a calculator problem. And let's do it because it's an inequality, which makes it a little bit different than what we did before. This is an inequality, which changes the game. I cannot multiply by x. I don't know if it's positive or negative. I don't know whether to switch the sign. I do still want to get 0. It's an inequality. So I'll get 0 by subtracting 2. Is that all right with everybody? Now, in a standard window, leave your window standard, we're going to go ahead and type this equation in. And type in this exact equation right here. So x squared plus 8 divided by x minus 2. And we want to know where it's greater than 0. Now, did you get a shape that looks something like this? I know you can't see the arrows, but does it look something like that on your calculator? Now, your job is to find where it's greater than 0. Where would I look on the graph if I want to be bigger than 0? I'm looking from this point right here, everything above that point. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this. So I need to find that point because that's going to be one of my endpoints in my interval. So how do I do that? How do I find this dot right here?
0.
Second calc, 0. And I got, for that point, negative 2.33.
Yes.
Now, it comes in two pieces. It's been broken by an asymptote. Any idea where the asymptote is? It doesn't show up on your screen. You kind of have to figure that out. Where's the asymptote? 0. There's an asymptote right here. So we're talking about all of the values from negative infinity to negative 2.33. So that's this part. Those are the positive parts. Everything from here to here. And then aren't we talking about everything bigger than 0? Aren't those all positive? Aren't all the values over here above the x-axis? So your other answer would be 0 to infinity. I'm including the 2.33 because that's a closed dot right there. But I can't include 0 because it's an asymptote. It's not a point. In inequality land, greater than 0 means above my arm. Less than 0 means below my arm. Positive y's, negative y's. Everybody make sense out of that? Okay, let's move on. Number 2, here we go. Consider this curve. We're going to ultimately sketch it by listing all of the stuff. Okay, so here we go. How do you want to start this guy? Maybe what? Yeah, let's factor it. So it's going to factor as x plus 5 minus 2 and x plus 2 minus 2. Uh-oh. We have a hole. Everybody okay right here? And before I forget, I'm going to graph that hole. Where will it be? Where x is 2. Let's see, if I plug in 2, what am I going to get? Plug in 2, what do I get? 21 over 4. Not a whole number, deal with it. Oh, 2. So 2 21/4, there's my hole right there. All right, what else can you tell me? Let's see. We're supposed to be finding asymptotes and intercepts.
Vertical at x equals negative 2.
Vertical at x equals negative 2, very good. X equals negative 2, perfect.
Horizontal at y equals 3.
Horizontal at y equals 3. Now, don't be confused on the test. If instead of horizontal, it says end behavior, because that's really what a horizontal asymptote is. End behavior asymptotes can be horizontal or slanted. Actually, they can be other shapes too, but we're only doing lines. It's horizontal because the powers match, but it's still an end behavior asymptote. If the powers match, your end behavior asymptote is horizontal. All right, what else?
Y-intercept at 0, 15 over 2.
At 15 over 2, I believe you're right. Good job, 15 over 2. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's my y-intercept, 0, 15 halves. And we get a y-intercept by plugging in 0, which is what we did. We got 15 halves. All right, now what? One more.
0 at -5.
Bingo. You guys need help. There's your guy. He's got it. -5, that's what makes this fraction equal 0. -5 is what makes the 0 in this spot. Okay, now you gotta sketch it. So you've done everything. You've done everything you were asked to do. Now you're gonna sketch it. Do you have a vision? I hope your vision looks like this. You okay with that? While we're here, let me ask you a couple of quick questions about this. These are just extra questions I'm asking you. All right, let's see if we can answer these questions. They're not on the sheet, these are just extras. What do I do with question 1 up there? Where am I looking? X is approaching positive infinity. I'm looking to the right. And what's happening as I go to the right?
3.
It's getting closer to 3 from the top. Now what's happening as I go to the left? Getting closer to 3 from underneath. How about as I approach -2 from the left? Oh, -2 from the left. What's happening? We're going down, negative infinity. As I'm approaching 1. Wait a minute. 1. Here's where x is 1. What's happening at 1? There's just a point. So how am I going to find the limit? I'm going to put in 1. And when I put in 1, I get 3 times 6 over 3. So this is the point 1, 6. So the answer to the question is 6. Got it? All right, I will see you guys on Friday. Test is Monday. That means your review work will be due on Monday.
Don't we see you tomorrow?
No, tomorrow we have only the first half of the day.
Strictly half day.
Well, yeah, but you only have 4 classes tomorrow and 4 on Friday. Can you turn the video off for me? And actually, you can hand it to me now. Okay. Downloading.